Hi everybody, Mark here from Dingle Cookery School. Welcome back. Today we're going to cook a Swiss roll. One of the easiest cakes to master, especially if you're starting out, but it's just such a classic. The sponge is made with 3 ingredients. You've got eggs, caster sugar, and you've got some flour, some plain flour. Now we're going to get straight into it. I already have in here, in my mixer with a nice big whisk, I have my eggs and I've got my eggs and my caster sugar in there, right? I've whipped them up for about 3 minutes, okay? Now, what we're looking for here is, okay, so about 3-4 minutes, but how you know when it's right is basically when we take it out, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get loads of air in there, okay? Take off the whisk and just dip it in and draw a figure of 8. Now, if that's holding that just like that, okay, that's called a ribbon stage. So what we're going to do now is, and be very careful, don't be too aggressive with it now. All we need to do now is, we've got a little bit of flour. We're going to fold the flour in. So how we do that, just get about half it in there. Use a nice big spoon or spatula. A nice, careful, big wide movements, all right? So remember that you really don't want to knock any of the that lovely air that we have in there, okay? So, and as usual, we will post the recipe. The recipe will be just underneath this video. Not a little bit in there, okay? Now I'm going to take you through the folding stages, what that actually means, all right? So what we do is around the sides, big exaggerated movements, move it into the center and back in. Why we're moving into the center as well is because I want to see that's where the pocket of flour will lie if we haven't folded in properly. So keep doing that, just nice big movements like that. And you will see as we do it, it's starting to incorporate the flour. So there we go, there's a pocket of flour in. Perfect, and it's such a beautiful cake. Oh, and it's such a lovely cake to make. And it's a classic as well. Later on, we're going to be putting a little bit of raspberry with it and a little bit of cream as well, okay? But in a second, I'm going to show you how to roll it up. How do we get that Swiss roll effect? Now, so you see, as we're doing it, we're getting less and less flour. Just nice and smooth. And again, you can just see how smooth this batter is, right? Nothing to be afraid of here. So this is pretty much, we're just making a sponge cake. But when we look at a Swiss roll, there we go, flour's all gone now. So when we're making a Swiss roll, we're just flattening it out that little bit more. Now, all I'm going to do here now is, I'm going to put it onto a tray. So that's our tray. We need to have some parchment cut out exactly, okay? And give it a little brush with some oil, just normal vegetable oil on the inside, okay? But go very lightly on that. That's going to help us when we want to turn this cake out a little later. Try and have your parchment cut so that it sticks up a little bit from the sides. Now, with this guy here, okay, so what we're going to do here now is very, very carefully just get this mixture in, all right? So get that in like that, and it's so incredible. Everybody is baking right now, okay? So it's really brilliant just to see so many baking, but this is a classic. Get back to making a Swiss roll. Get back here, you'll see that so easy to make, and maybe you might have to give it 1 or 2 goes, but it should be one of the first cakes you start to learn, because you start to figure out, you learn the ribbon stage. You also learn to see what I'm doing there now, just how delicate it is. Just push it out to the corners, just like that. It is going to rise slightly in the oven. Okay, now we'll just get it out to the edge. Be very careful here, we don't bang it because we'll knock the air out. I'm now going to pop that into the oven. My oven is at 180 degrees Celsius. We're going to pop that in on the middle shelf, it's a fan is on, and I'm going to put the timer on for 7 minutes. That's all it's going to take to bake it. Now, here's where it gets really, really exciting. Okay, how does it become a Swiss roll? So what we need to do is, we need to roll this guy up while it's hot. So I've one here that's just out of the oven, but what we're going to do is, sheet of parchment, get a nice bit of caster sugar, or if you're in the States or Canada, that's super fine sugar. Just sprinkle that on there. Now what we want to do is, that's it there, and how I knew that was ready when I took it out, there's a slight sponge. When you see it, you just press your finger in there, and you come out. Now, so what I want to do is, just very carefully tip that out, okay? And when it's hot, you'll find it's going to roll, all right? So we've got one side sitting down on the sheet with the caster sugar, and this is where I like to oil, why we oiled the inside. You just see how easily that comes off. But get into the habit when you're peeling this off, peel it off as if it was a plaster, especially a plaster on you. Now, I'm just going to get rid of that for a second, all right? Now, you can either roll it this way, which will get a longer cake, or if you want to roll it this way, we'll get more rolls in it. One little thing that you have to do is just, with a sharp knife, maybe just cut it, but don't cut it all the way down. This is going to help the very, very first roll. So what I'm going to do now is, with this, just roll it like that. Make sure that the parchment has been rolled with it as well. That's it, look at that. Oh my God. Now, all we've got to do now is, the crease side, I'm going to leave that down. That'll just hold its weight while it's working on that. This is another one that we've made earlier. So today we've made 3 Swiss rolls, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to roll this out. Because we did this when it was nice and warm, you'll see that it rolls out nice and easy like that, okay? Now, what we want to do now is, you can put whatever filling you want on it. I'm going to put a bit of raspberry jam, okay? If the raspberry jam, you might need to maybe just put it into a pot for a second and warm it up if it's not spreading for you. Okay, now don't put too much on there. Okay, now what we're going to do is, we're going to spread that around, and don't spread it all the way to the edges, because as it rolls, it is going to sort of push itself out a little bit. So this is going to be the end. Just going to get another bit in there. Just going to pop another bit in there for a second, and I'm just using raspberry jam, but right now rhubarb is in season. Why not stew down a little bit of rhubarb, or your favorite fruit? So start to play around with it, but what I'd always recommend is, master the first one, the recipe first, before you start working your way around with it. Look at that. Oh, so Swiss roll, it's just so tasty. Get it out there to the edge, basically as if you're buttering a piece of bread, piece of toast. Now we'll just get rid of those. Now I've got some whipped cream. So fresh cream, whipped, a little bit of icing sugar in there as well, and a tiny bit of vanilla. All right, so start off with a little bit, see how you get on with that first. Okay, now just spread that around. Here we go. Look at that, looks just amazing. Now we're going to roll it in a second. We're just going to get another bit there. And again, don't be too worried about the edges, because as it rolls, it's going to push itself out there like that. So excited. I want to put that there, get that out of the way. Now, okay, now to roll it, our final roll. Sorry, I just need to push this, just level it out a small bit there. I forgot that piece there. Okay, so again, just spread it out nice and evenly, something like that. Now, what we're going to do now is, take your parchment here. This is the side that we put the little cut in there. Roll that guy over. Roll it over again. You can see the way it's pushing out. The cream and the jam And you also see that lovely sugar filling on it. Try to have that bottom side, where the crease is, try to put that underneath. So what we're going to see now is we're going to cut open a slice, see how does it look. All right. So what I meant by that is just put your crease side down, okay, so that the top looks nice and beautiful like that. Now, so I'm just going to put that there, remove this very carefully. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, we're just going to tidy it up a little bit, and I'm going to cut sort of one of the edges off first, just to tidy it up that little bit. Now, don't worry, we'll still eat this piece, but that's going to give you an idea of what it looks like. So I'm just going to cut another slice here. So with a nice serrated knife, there we go, look at that. Look at that, isn't that just amazing? Now, so there you go. Thanks everybody for watching, and thank you so much for making the curry apple cake last week, especially Mairead. You seem to have got it mastered now. I hope you're going to enjoy this. But we just give us a like on our Facebook, or share your pictures on Instagram with us and everything. So until next week, everybody, thank you very much. Until now, I'm going to just eat loads of Swiss roll.